2 games. Everybody gave the Orioles the opportunity, the best opportunity to win the game. They were at home. Surely, teams generally don't blow 3 games to 1 lead.
We felt like once we won and made that move back to Baltimore, that basically all we had to do was throw our gloves on the field after being 3-3.
Coming into Game 7, they're all excited because, you know, they think they're going to win the game. We know we're going to win.
That game at Baltimore Orioles Stadium was cloudy, cold, gray.
It was 38 degrees at game time. It didn't matter because the Pittsburgh Pirates were going to play the Baltimore Orioles in Game 7 of the 1979 World Series, and nothing else mattered.
ABC Sports presents Game 7 of the 1979 World Series. Live from Memorial Stadium in Baltimore, Maryland, the National League champion Pittsburgh Pirates and the American League champion Baltimore Orioles. And in game number 6, it was Big Dave Parker who started the Pirates rolling toward a 4-0 victory with that shot to the outfield to get the first run home in the 7th inning. 4-0 to even the series at 3-3. And then came these 2 pitchers. Lefty John Candelaria, 6 shutout innings, sore rib cage and all, did his job. And then the ace reliever, Kent DeColby, slammed the door on the Orioles. Thus, everything is on the line tonight. There will be few October evenings more pleasant than this one as we settle down for Game 7 between the Pirates and the Orioles in Baltimore. Another full house to watch. We're glad you could join us, and the President of the United States is also with us. This ABC Sports Exclusive brought to you by Chevrolet. Like baseball, hot dogs, and apple pie, Chevy is an American favorite. See the exciting new lineup of 1980 Chevrolets at your Chevy dealer. By Atra. For closeness with comfort, it's Gillette's Best Shave. And by Pepsi-Cola and your local Pepsi-Cola bottler. Have a Pepsi Day. Well, just a few minutes ago, President Carter and his party walked in to sit down in the commissioner's box, and there you see President Jimmy Carter with Baseball Commissioner Bowie Kuhn. And he's without coat because it's that kind of a comfortable night, and we're delighted he could join us for this Game 7 in the World Series of 1979. Hello again, everybody. I'm Keith Jackson. There are many ways to define pressure, I guess, depending on the person and the circumstance. But at this level of professional sport, you always anticipate the best is going to come out of the individual player. These 2 teams are made up of men of character, and we should see an outstanding baseball game tonight. There's some grist to chew on as you ponder the beginning of this game, though. Let me tell you about the middle of the Baltimore batting order over the last 4 games. Hitters numbers 4, 5, and 6 have had 5 base hits and 48 trips to the plate and produced only 3 runs. Now, in 3 games that Baltimore won, they scored in bunches. In the first game, they scored 5 in the first inning. In game number 3, in which they won, they had another 5-run outburst. And in game number 4, they had a 6-run inning. But without the middlemen in your batting order, hitters 4, 5, and 6 producing, you are not going to put together big innings. And that's a problem that Earl Weaver spoke of in the pregame show, and it worries him tonight. Now let's turn to Howard Cosell for his comments going into this climactic moment of the 79 series.
Well, thank you very much, Keith, and you're exactly right. You hit the nub of the matter from the Earl Weaver viewpoint. We need, as he calls it, Dr. Longball. At the same time, amplifying that which Keith just told you, let's look more closely at the 2 big hitters, or presumed big hitters, of the Birds. Kenny Singleton, 10 out of 25. Good hitting percentage. But by his own admission, Kenny wants to explode the long ball, for which he was so noted during the season. He has yet to do so. Eddie Murray got off to a big early start, went 4 for 5. Remember, he is now 4 for 22. On the pitching side, the starter's edge may belong to young Scotty McGregor, who pitched so brilliantly the last time around. The edge in the bullpen, however, seems to belong to Pittsburgh. They've got so many who are oh so ready. But to fill you in more fully on the respective pitching staffs, the one and only Don Drysdale.
Well, thank you very much, Howard. And as you look at the two pitchers tonight, you just might figure that they are penciled in because this is it. This is the final game. There is no tomorrow. We've said that before. Jim Bibby and Scott McGregor. Scott McGregor has already won. Right now, Scott McGregor coming out tonight. He has clinched the pennant for the Baltimore Orioles. He won Game 3, and he's ready to go tonight. Jim Bibby, the key once again is going to be control. If Bibby has control, he can be awfully tough. But when you go to spring training and you think about what's going to happen in the fall, you think of the World Series. Well, that's where we are. We're here, Game 7, and we'll see what's going to happen. It ought to be a great one. Right now, let's go to Rex Barney, and we'll meet the players.
Your attention, please. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the starting lineups for Game 7. First, the National League champion, Pittsburgh Pirates. Manager, Chuck Tanner. Leading off, center fielder, Omar Marino. Batting second, shortstop, Tim Foley. Hitting third, right fielder, Dave Parker. In the fourth position, left fielder, Bill Robinson. The fifth place hitter, first baseman, Wooly Stargell. Batting sixth, third baseman, Bill Madlock. Batting seventh, catcher, Steve Nicosia. The eighth place batter, second baseman, Phil Garner. Hitting ninth and warming up in the bullpen, pitcher Jim Bibby. The rest of the National League champion, Pittsburgh Pirates. And now your American League champion, Baltimore Orioles. Manager, Earl Weaver. Batting first, center fielder, Al Bumbry. In the second position, shortstop, Kiko Garcia. Hitting third, right fielder, Ken Singleton. The cleanup hitter, first baseman, Eddie Murray. The fifth place hitter, left fielder, John Lowenstein. Batting sixth, third baseman, Doug DeCinces. Hitting seventh, catcher, Rick Dempsey. In the eighth spot, second baseman, Rich Dower. Batting ninth and warming up in the bullpen, pitcher Scott McGregor. And the remainder of the American League champion, Baltimore Orioles. Ladies ladies and gentlemen, presenting the colors will be the United States Marine Corps Reserve Color Guard. Please rise to honor America with our national anthem, which will be sung by a specialist in American revolutionary music, Bill Shoestick, from the center field bandstand.
Oh, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed in the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
So the huge crowd settles back slowly into their seats following that entertaining rendition of our national anthem. There, the President of the United States, Jimmy Carter, with Commissioner Kuhn. And we're just about ready for the start of Game 7.
Earlier in the series, it was after Game 4, they lost after blowing a ninth-inning lead. Standing just outside the dugout, I was doing some post-game stuff for CBS, and we were allowed that access. The players, the Pirates, were filing out of the dugout, down the runway back to the clubhouse. And I remember they looked like they were in shock. They all looked like zombies, except for Dave Parker, who came out saying, blank 'em, we're not done yet. We're coming back in this series.
I think the key to the whole series in that being the fourth game and being down 3-1, they had introductions and Baltimore was being introduced, and I think Pat Kelly was hitting third that day, and he ran out to the foul line and did a little dance, a little jig out on the foul line. And it seemed like everybody in our dugout stood up at the same time and yelled at him some words that we came to say on TV, and told him, let's see you dance the seventh game. So that showed you where our mentality was.
Willie came up with the statement, and he says, you know what? He says, we're down 3-1. There's a pretty good possibility we may not win this World Series. But he says, before we go home, if indeed we are going to go home, before we go home, let's show the whole world how the Buccos really play baseball.
Pittsburghers know a thing or two about coming together. We cheer together. Look out for one another. We make this city whole. But right now, coronavirus is trying to change all that. So Allegheny Health Network is asking every Pittsburgher to join the Stay Home team. Stay inside so our doctors, nurses, first responders can focus on conquering this virus. Let's come together in a new way. Let's all join the Stay Home team today.
We're here early before they wake up. We stay late, we stay informed, we invest in the latest technology.
We take the time to train the next generation of doctors and nurses. We work together to make sure we heal their bodies and their minds.
We do this not because it's our job, but because this is about our veterans' lives. This is our mission. More than 300,000 of us working as one, together with families and loved ones. No matter where they live in this country, we'll be there.
we all come together and stand together to serve our veterans. We stand strong, united. Stand with us in caring for our veterans.
The song came on, We Are Family, and Willie, said, that's gonna be our theme song, And Willie put that tag on us. We started believing in it.
It started to grow there, the We Are Family thing. And then as the year went on, as the excitement built, as we started playing better, it just kind of, everything grew together.
We are family. Start coming out, and I tell you what, man, getting goosebumps again.
One columnist calling them a bunch of phonies, this We Are Family business, it's all an act. It wasn't. It wasn't a cliche. It wasn't an act. That's what they were. That's how they were. And they're resolved because of the personalities involved. If they lost Game 7, then they lost Game 7. They lost the World Series, but they weren't going to change who they were, and they didn't.
And Omar Moreno will lead off again for Pittsburgh. He'll be followed by Tim Foley. Then comes Dave Parker, Bill Robinson, and Willis Stargell. Bill Matlock, Steve Nicosia doing the catching with a left-hander on the mound. He's a right-handed batter. Phil Garner and Jim Beebe will bat in the number 9 spot. The Orioles go out on the field. They are wearing those goldenrod shirts that they wore in the opening game of the series, a game in which they scored 5 runs in the first inning and won the game 5-4. And John Lowenstein will be in left field tonight. He is the better glove man out there. Benny Ayala had a couple of problems last night. Over in center field, Al Bumbry will start with a right-hander on the mound, and he, of course, is the one of great speed in the outfield. In right field, the strong one, Ken Singleton. And the outfield, incidentally, is very nicely dried out now and very firm. Moving to the inside for Baltimore, Doug DeCense doing a little running in the outfield before the game, pulled up sharply and grabbed his left knee, and it took him quite a bit of time to walk the kink out. But he's in there. Kiko Garcia is at shortstop again tonight. Speculation had been Belanger would be there. Not so. Garcia's back. Over at second base tonight, this young man, Rich Dower, who had a shot hit at him last night that he couldn't come up with. Had he fielded Dave Parker's shot, it might have been a different ball game, but he didn't. At first base, Steady Eddie Murray, and this is a guy that's really worrying Earl Weaver. His bat has been very, very quiet over the last 4 games. Back of the plate, here's a horse for you. He is a pivotal member of this ball club, one of the better catchers in all of baseball, Rick Dempsey. And on the mound, young Scott McGregor, who was born and raised in California and lives now just down the road in Coxville from Baltimore. The umpires for tonight's ball game, Jerry Newdecker out of the American League is back at the plate. Bob Engel of the National League at first, Russ Getz of the American League at second, Terry Tate of National League at third, Jim McKean, American League, down the left side, and Paul Runge of the National League down the right side. Dimensions of the ballpark again. It is short down each side, 309. Then it fades away to 385 up the alleys, 405 in dead center. They play on dirt and grass here in Baltimore.
Well, Keith, as you said, this field is in perfect shape right now. It might not look that maybe on one of your pictures, but Santarone, the groundskeeper, he has been out here. He moved a 15-ton roller on it. He says that's the heaviest that he's ever used on this field because he says after the football game, I had to get the lumps out of there. And he said it took me 15 tons to do it. So what you're looking at now, you're looking at a fast Memorial Stadium.
And the winner of this game goes home the champion of baseball for 79. And the first pitch to Moreno is inside and tight for ball 1. Two balls and no strikes.
I think one of the keys right here tonight is as you're looking at the home plate umpire, Jerry Newdecker, nobody is a stranger to him because Bibby, he had Bibby in the American League at Cleveland and Texas, and he knows McGregor.
There's the first strike by Scotty. Always makes you feel better to get the first strike on the plate, doesn't it?
Just to throw it.
Yes, right. The count is 2 balls and 1 strike. Up the middle it goes, and once again Moreno pops it up the middle. That's the 3rd base hit of the series that he's hammered right up the pipe.
Well, there's the key man for Pittsburgh. They need him on. He's got to stay there. And you look at it again, McGregor behind on the count. He comes, has the ball up over the plate, and Moreno just takes it right back up the middle. He hit that ball hard.
As Foley comes to the plate, folks, remember this. One of the reasons he's been so successful with the Bucks is because he hits between Moreno and Parker. With Moreno on first, always a threat to go, Foley gets a lot of fastballs. And so, Foley hits the fastball better than anything else.
Now the key about the Baltimore pitchers, they've been able to hold those runners on well.
Pittsburgh does not have a stolen base in this series.
Meanwhile, Omar Moreno, after a dreadful start in the series, has come alive. He's now got 9 hits and 29 times at bat.
McGregor is low to Foley for ball 1.
Scott threw 2 balls to Moreno. He's thrown 1 now to Foley. That's 3. He only had 18 thrown balls out of 96 in his first outing.
Moreno edging off, testing the pitcher. McGregor goes over there. If Moreno had been allowed 1 more half step, he'd have had enough.
He just about had him right there. McGregor's got a good move to first base. And I said before, talking to Bob Skinner, the batting instructor for the Pittsburgh Pirates, he says, these guys are tough. Not only with Dempsey behind the plate, he says the pitchers do a great job.
Ball 2 to Tim Foley with Dave Parker on deck. It's been so long since Foley struck out, I think he's probably forgotten about it.
He'd be a bad scorekeeper. He wouldn't know how to write down a K.
That's right.
Moreno edging. McGregor looking at him. Playing a little game with him now. Moreno, that'll show you right there the move of how much respect that Moreno has for McGregor, because he turned to go back to the bag and Scott delivered to the plate and got a called strike.
And right now, Foley checking with his third base coach, Joe Lynette. Foley ahead on the count. Tanner might be waiting for McGregor to throw a strike. He's got the strike 2 and 1. They might start something.
He's going to first. That's a tough move.
McGregor's got a good move. Flanagan's got a good move. Palmer a very quick move.
The tip-off on Moreno. If Baltimore's correct in its reading, is when he gets his feet close together, he's going. The bunt down in front of the pitching mound. Moreno is in at second as Foley sacrifices him to the turn.
Well, you can see what Chuck Tanner is thinking right now. Give me a run in any inning that I can possibly get it. And that was an old theory of Bobby Bragan's. He says, if I can sacrifice, he says, and be successful 50% of the time, you've got to get 5 or 6 runs to beat me.
Now McGregor will pitch to Parker, who has 10 hits and 24 trips for the World Series.
Must have been a good theory. That's why Bobby had one of the losingest teams of all time in '56 when he was managing the Bucks.
He didn't have these horses in '56.
Sore, very sore knee. In his case, being a left-handed hitter, the left knee, the back leg, makes it kind of hard to shove off. High pop to the infield. Doug DeCinces, the third baseman, comes to the mound and makes the catch. Two out, and the batter is Bill Robinson. Robinson hitting in between Parker and Stargell tonight with the left-hander out there.
He is a very tough hitter. Season's average misleading, 262. But he had 24 home runs, and he had a lot of ribbies, 75. Good clutch hit.
Frank Robinson moving his defense around in the outfield. He gives Bill Robinson right center. The pitch is low. There's your big gap right there in right center. And there's also a lot of room down the right field line, but Bill has not hit many baseballs down the right side in his lifetime. Foul back.
McGregor, velocity-wise, he's not the hardest thrower on the Baltimore staff, but he's a cutie out there.
He's got a little jerky move just before the ball comes to you. That's deceptive.
Cunning is the word. Fastest pitch he's thrown is 87 miles per hour.
Is that little jerky move enough to bother somebody, you think?
Well, anytime you get a little pitcher that's a little unorthodox, he is not that much unorthodox, but he's got that little herky-jerky delivery, and sometimes if you're not ready, that ball can get on you. Now, what will complement his fastball is his off-speed pitches, the curveball and the straight change. He's the one that taught Flanagan the change.
Foul back, out of play. They count 2 balls and 2 strikes with 2 out, and Omar Moreno at second base.
He moves it around on you all the time. One pitch inside, the other pitch out. One high, one low.
Now that's the secret of pitching. And all it is a confrontation between pitcher and hitter where you try and keep the hitter off balance. And now Dempsey just wants to go out, I think, right now and just double check with McGregor and see exactly what's on his mind. What does he want to do right here to Robinson?
Joe Lynette coaching at third, Al Monchak at first for Pittsburgh. The flag limp in center field. There is no wind. The 2-2 pitch to Robinson. High pop-up. DeSensei makes the catch. The inning is over. Moreno singles to lead the game. He's retired on the bases as McGregor shuts him out in the top half of the first.
The 1979 Pirate Club was a very veteran-laden club. There weren't many rookies on it with the exception of Don Robinson. And Chuck treated us exactly the way we needed to be treated. He gave us all the freedom in the world to go out and just do what we do. And he treated us like men.
The best manager I ever played for, because it wasn't all about wins and losses with Chuck. It was about players and people and personality and relationships.
We were a little bit wild and crazy, and it was the brilliance of Chuck Tanner that managed to put it all together and keep us from beating up on each other and get focused at game time.
Swinging a deep fly ball to right, and Josh Bell has hit another one out of here.
And welcome to PNC Park.
Kevin Newman, his 7th home run of the game, just won it. Praise the Jolly Roger.
Your business extends far outside your 4 walls, which means you need someone out there you can trust with your fleet. Quick Fill Fleet Fueling offers volume discounts along with detailed free reporting and no fees. Regardless of the size of your fleet, Quick Fill makes managing it a lot easier. Providing exceptional convenience and American-made fuels, we'll take care of your fleet so you can take care of your business. Quick Fill Fleet Fueling and you. Driving America.
Hi, it's Jan from Toyota, working from home, like many of you. When you need us, Toyota's here to help.
Here in Pennsylvania, local Toyota dealers are focused on their associates and customers. Most remain open for your service needs, with enhanced efforts for cleaning and social distancing, and pickup and delivery service is available at some dealers. Feel free to also shop our inventory from the comfort of your home. We expect to be open for sales soon.
We're here for you now and in all the better days ahead. Toyota.
Jim Bibby fit right in with his team in terms of size. He was a huge man, 6'5", about 250. He threw BBs. Boy, could he throw hard.
At that point in time, because Bert Blyleven had relieved in Game 5 and thrown 4 innings, Jim Bibby, on 3 days rest, was our best option. He wasn't by far our #1 pitcher. That was the uniqueness of that ball club. You didn't care who it was. You didn't care that it was your #1 guy, because there really weren't any #1s. Everybody just did their part. And Jim Bibby was there that night, and it was his turn to do his part.
6'5", 34-year-old Jim Bibby out on the mound. Here's some comments from him prior to the start of the game.
Jim, what did you learn about the Birds the last time out?
Well, I pitched against Baltimore during the course of my career because I was in the American League with them. You know, I don't think that I'm going to do anything different than I've been doing all year. I thought I threw the ball good during the course of my career this year with the Pirates, and I basically am a fastball pitcher, and I'm going with my fastball, and I had a repertoire of my curveball and my slider throwing it over the plate when I needed it, when behind big hitters, and I'm basically going to do the same thing that I did during the course of the season.
So the big right-hander ready to go. Since he pitched in Cleveland when Frank Robinson managed over there, he has added a good curveball to his assortment of pitches. And the Orioles will line up with Bunbury, Garcia, Singleton, Murray, Lowenstein, DeCinces, Dempsey, Dower, and the pitcher, McGregor. So Bunbury, whose bat has been silent in the series pretty much, stands up. He's 3 for 18. Strike fastball.
Bunbury is a much better hitter than that World Series average. Weaver is counting on the fact that Al may come out of it tonight.
Strike two. The defense at both corners of the infield, and there you see the outer and inner defenses for Pittsburgh. But Madlock is on the edge of the grass at third, guarding against the possible bunt. Now with 2 strikes, the bunt has been lessened, and Willis Stargell backs up on the right side, and Bunbury fouls it back. The Pirate defensive setup in the outfield shows they don't believe Bunbury will pull Bibby. They shade him to the left, to the off field, and he hits it that way, but it's foul upstairs. Bibby in his 7th full season in the major leagues. He primarily has been a starter. His first year with Pittsburgh, last year, split time between the bullpen and starting. 1979 was in the bullpen, but when Don Robinson and Jim Rooker were hurting, he was put into the starting rotation. A 2-strike count on the Baltimore leadoff man Bunbury. It's rolled to the right side. It's a fair ball. Stargell has it, gloves it, does it himself.
Now, you usually don't want to slide into first. You lose time doing it. But there, it was the right move. Explain why, Don.
Well, number one, Stargell's coming down the line, and Bunbury already sees that he's going to try and make the play on him and not at the bag. And all Al's trying to do, as you would if you're sliding to second or third, and it's a close play, you're just trying to elude the tag. That was it.
The batter is GEICO Garcia, shortstop. Kenny Singleton to the on-deck circle. Garcia was 7 for 17 in the series and 6 runs batted in. Had a bit of a rough time last night. An error of omission more than commission. And pops it up foul, drifting back and out of play.
I think the pregame interview with Earl Weaver tells you why Garcia's starting. There are 2 reasons. A, Belanger still troubled by the leg injury suffered in an earlier game. And B, he wants the bat of Garcia, which has been a good bat with 7 hits and 6 ribbies during the course of the series.
That's hit on the ground to the second baseman, Phil Garner. 2 out. There's a rundown on what's happened going into this 7th game. Baltimore winning the first, Pittsburgh the second, Baltimore the next 2, Pittsburgh the next 2. Ken Singleton, 10 hits and 25 trips.
Yeah, since that Sunday game in Pittsburgh, just kind of watching Baltimore, it seems as though that you wonder if anyone's taken the bull by the horn.
That fastball is on the inside corner.
This is Singleton and young Mr. Singleton.
What I mean by that is you get in a series like this, and sometimes you have a tendency maybe you lay back just a little bit, or maybe you're not going that well, and all of a sudden you say, well, so-and-so will pick us up, so-and-so will pick us up, so-and-so, they'll pick us up. But nobody does that. As you look at this pitch again, good fastball by Bibby, 92 miles an hour. Instead of really going out there, and as I say, just take the bull by the horns and then make something happen. Because all they've had to do is win 1. But Pittsburgh, they've been the ones that's really made things happen.
Ball is hit to the right side. Stargell will go to the pitcher Bibby covering, and Baltimore is gone in order. So we played 1 inning, and we have no score.
Stargell was the captain. Stargell was called Pops. He was the unquestioned leader of that club.
Willie led by example. You know, I've seen him strike out 10, 12 times, and every time he struck out, he took his helmet off and set it in the helmet rack without making a sound. And all you had to do was to watch Willie to benefit from his leadership, because he was a true professional.
You'll hear ball players talk about leadership by example. I lead by example. Well, certainly he did that, but he also led by the way he dealt with you, the way he made you feel a part of the team.
Willie was special and motivate you to bring you up, and is always looking for somebody to, something to keep your face up and believe that we're gonna do it.
You had any problem on or off the field, if you got a problem and you couldn't settle it yourself, hey, Pop, I need a little bit of advice. Bring it on, baby.
And Willie's favorite saying was, you know, hey, this guy might be this guy might be that, but when we put these shirts on, we're all buccos.
Give yourself a raise and put money in your pocket. Home values are up, and with mortgage rates this low, now is the time to put your equity to work. Get cash out, pay off credit cards, get a free mortgage checkup at Golden Oak Lending.
Hey fans, this is Pirates manager Derek Shelton from my home in St. Pete Beach, Florida. Even though we are not playing right now, it is very important to be part of the Stay Home team. It is very important for our healthcare workers that you stay home, you stay healthy, you stay safe. Thank you very much.
At Point Park University in the heart of downtown Pittsburgh, our towers are made with steel, not ivory. They're powered by innovation, intelligence, and effort. We understand there's no substitute for real-world experience and career-building connections. Our curriculum engages students with distinctive experiential learning opportunities. Point Park's pioneering co-op program empowers qualified students to work in full-time paid positions with our corporate partners while earning college credits. Career ready, that's the point. Point Park University.
It's fast and easy. Golden Oak Lending's new Zipline Mortgage. Get the ease of applying online with the security of working with a local company.
I just call my personal loan officer with any questions.
Zipline Mortgage. Apply online today.
I felt that I was the best player in the 70s, and I had a lot of God-given ability, and God knew what he was doing when he gave me a bad left knee, because it would have been totally unfair.
A lot of people didn't like Dave Parker because he was brash, he was loud, he was hard to deal with at times, but never for us in the clubhouse.
Dave was incredibly gifted as an athlete, but he was also gifted with his jibe. He had some talk, man.
He was always in a faux argument with one of his teammates. He always, especially with Phil Garner, those two were at it from the first day of spring training to Game 7 of the World Series. It never stopped.
Me and Phil had that kind of relationship. We would go at each other before the game, but in the process of us going at each other, it kind of loosened up the team and loosened up the starting pitcher for that day, and we just carried that on. It was a tradition for me and Phil to be at each other's throat.
He could come up with some of the greatest lines. When the leaves come brown, I'll be wearing my second batting crown. And he'd say, "Go check a bubblegum card, mother. Go check a bubblegum card." And he wanted you to go look at the back of the bubblegum card, look at all those good numbers he had on there.
Those of you who have been watching Big Dave Parker all season can surely see a difference in his work at the plate. Let's define the injury that he has to his left knee.
You haven't exploded with the home run yet. Are you satisfied with your series thus far, you personally?
I'm fairly content with my series. I have 10 hits. I've driven in 4 runs. I've scored a few times. But I like to display a little power tonight. In a situation where if necessary, I will be swinging for the long ball. I've been having problems with my left knee. I haven't been able to really sit back and push off my back leg. So that accounts for the flares to left field and most of my hits going to left field.
All right. That's the story on Big Day. Now,
you know how he hurt the knee, Keith? It happened in a game against the Dodgers.
Yeah.
During the season, he went in a hole left by Omar Moreno's spikes. And the knee turned, and it hasn't been the same since.
All right, Jim Bibb, he pitches to Rich Dower. Scott McGregor. That ball is hit well to left field. Way back. It's gone.
That's the young man we told you has been such a maturing ball player. He's the man who led the Birds throughout the season in game-winning hits. That's the way the Birds won their games all year long. The unexpected ones coming through as a team.
Well, he is laying on a fastball all the way, and he gets it up over the plate. He hits a line drive. He hits it well. And that could be something right there that just might wake that Baltimore bench up a little bit.
The first run is always the biggest in a ball game like this. And guess who's the happiest person in the ballpark?
Mrs. Rich Dower.
That's right. That's 21 career home runs for Rich. Oh, what a big one. Scott McGregor is at the plate now. The Baltimore pitcher swings and misses. He's been a switch hitter since his Little League days. When he was in the minors at Syracuse, Bobby Cox used him a lot as a left-handed pinch hitter. He took batting practice every day, so he's not a giveaway at the plate. On the ground to the shortstop, Foley. 1 out. Now back to the top of the order for Al Bunbury. And old Memorial Stadium in Baltimore is a-humming now.
You want to know what's interesting? They had originally scheduled Billy Smith to start at second. It wasn't until an hour and a half before the game that they went to Dower. As of now, that's a big payoff.
And McGregor taking his time getting back, and of course a leadoff hitter will always do that. They'll take a little time to let the pitcher get back and get down and set a little bit, but now with that 1 run, the home run by Dower, and Chuck Tanner very quickly has gone to the bullpen. He's got him throwing.
Don Robinson, who has a very tender right shoulder, is up and throwing in the pen, and he's another flamethrower.
And at the plate is Bunbury, the man who does for the Birds what Mickey Rivers used to do for the Yankees, the catalyst, but he has not done it in this series.
Slides up the bat handle, and that brings Madlock in from third. Takes it for ball 1. So Dower gets a bibby fastball up and rides it out, and Baltimore jumps on top, 1-0, bottom of the 3rd inning.
Tell you, if Bunbury can get out of it and get on, you'll see a different Birds team.
1-1. Close. 2-1.
Now that home run by Dower, that's woke the crowd up too.
The 2-1 pitch to Bunbury. High pop up to the infield. The shortstop, Foley. 2 out. Now it's GEICO Garcia coming out. And this telecast presented by authority of Major League Baseball, intended solely for the private non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of the game without the express written consent of Major League Baseball is prohibited. Got some stirring around in the Pittsburgh pen. More people going out to start loosening up. And Garcia, check swing foul. And it just missed Howard.
Hibby's heaving it. That last one was 93 miles an hour. There's Rich Dower. Sat out the first 2 games of the series, was openly critical of manager Earl Weaver.
1 ball and 1 strike. Dave Roberts is your left-hander. Don Robinson is the right-hander. We have not seen Dave Roberts at all in the series. He was the middleman or the long relief man for the Pirates during the course of the season. That ball is hit to the right side and into right field for a base hit by Garcia. So GEICO is on at first, second hit of the inning off Bibby, and Singleton is coming up. Dower hit a home run to lead the inning. 2 out.
Now the thing right here with Bibby, he's been missing on his breaking pitches, and it appears the Baltimore hitters now, they just lay back and wait for the express. They look for the fastball.
Manny Sanguillen on the dead run to the bullpen now, so that means you're liable to have, you got at least 2 working out there, and you might get a 3rd one going any minute. You've got Rooker, you've got Blyleven, you've got the whole staff on call.
Keep wondering when this big guy is going to explode.
Singleton with no long ball in the World Series so far. He had 3 hits last night in the losing effort. The runner goes, the throw. Not in time. Oh, yes, they got him.
Got him on the head.
Right on top of the head.
He called him out. Foley's arguing, but he's out. Garner gets him away.
Foley's arguing with Russ Getz, and Russ is holding up the right hand, and now it's Garcia's turn to argue.
Now look at it again.
Flattened it out, he'd have been in there.
Keith, look at it again. It appears that Garcia goes past him with the slide right there. But before he gets to the base, the tag got him.
Tagged him right on the noggin. And so, after 3 innings of play, Baltimore leads 1-0.
I have to get Foley out there because he's arguing with the umpire, and the umpire calls him out, and Foley's going, well, you're out of position. You can't see the call. You're going, and Foley's all carried away. And finally, I get Foley by the waist. I say, Timmy called him out. What? Okay. So I'm afraid we don't want to get Tim kicked out of the game, you know, in the World Series, 7th game of the World Series.
The Pittsburgh Pirates say thank you to all those serving others and serving on the front lines so that we can all stay home.
Pittsburghers know a thing or two about coming together. We cheer together. Look out for one another. We make this city whole. But right now, coronavirus is trying to change all that. So Allegheny Health Network is asking every Pittsburgher to join the Stay Home team. Stay inside so our doctors, nurses, first responders can focus on conquering this virus. Let's come together in a new way. Let's all join the Stay Home team today.
Everyone deserves a decent place to live.
Everyone.
Todos. Decent shelter is something we all need to thrive. When a future homeowner partners with Habitat for Humanity to build or improve a home.
Build.
They build a better future for themselves and their families.
For my family.
For my family.
For my family.
Para mi familia.
Your support empowers a family to help themselves.
Help.
Asiste.
Your support helps another family in your community or around the world achieve strength, stability, self-reliance.
Strength.
Fuerza.
With a little help, we all have the potential to stand on our own.
Potential.
Through shelter, we empower. Visit Habitat.org to provide help to families like these today.
The way McGregor was pitching, if the Orioles get up 2-3 runs, given the conditions, it would have been very difficult to come back.
we found ways to get past adversity. And Scotty McGregor in Game 7 was no different, than being down 3-1 and having Jim Palmer in Game 5, Mike Flanagan in Game 6. I mean, we didn't care.
Well, have a look at the play here now.
He gets a good jump, Keith, and with a high leg kick by Bibby, he's a good man to steal on, but the throw is up the line, and here you see Foley come across. He can't make any kind of a slide, either just a straight-in slide, but he's made the tag, and then Tim Foley doesn't think that the second base umpire, Russ Getz, called him out, but he knows that he made the tag, but they finally do call him out, and our congratulations to Earl Weaver.
Yes, indeed. The crowd just stood as one. They loved the Sly Fox.
We go to the top of the fourth inning. For Bill Robinson, Willis Stargell, and Bill Madlock, Scott McGregor now sitting on a 1-0 lead as a strike on Robinson. Bill hit a high pop to the third baseman his first time up.
Remember the man who took over as interim manager for the Phils when Ozark was released?
Dallas Green.
He will be named officially tomorrow as the new manager of the Philadelphia Phillies.
McGregor jams him inside, just missed. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
I'll tell you, that pitch was a beauty, Don.
It was a good pitch. Good 2-strike pitch. Yeah, this little guy, he's got some moxie out there, doesn't he?
Got a bulldog in him. The way he looks at you. Pops it back. Oh, hangs up. Dempsey right at the plate makes the catch. And again, he had the ball moving in on the hands, and he just spun it right up in the air feebly for out number 1.
Remember, he pitched Parker perfectly. Bad knee and all, or wet even with a good knee. The way to get Parker out is high and tight. Jim Palmer told you that in an earlier conversation, and that's the way McGregor got Parker. He's handling these hitters up to now beautifully.
Stargell fouls it back. Willie hit a fly ball single to short left field that Lowenstein overran. Willie advanced to second, back in the second inning, and couldn't move. The outfield gives him all of left center. I mean all of it. That's flared off to the left side, about the same place he got his single the last time. DeCinces can't make the play. It rolls into foul ground, and Stargell stands at second with an off-field double.
That's twice Willie's gone to left.
Well, he was jammed with that pitch badly. Doug right now, I know he'd like to have that back over again to see if he can make the catch. He's running away from the plate, but right here, he actually overruns the ball. That ball is sinking and dying on him going towards the line. See, he overruns the ball, then has to try and come back and make the catch. And he just outran it, that's all. But that is a tough play.
Well, you couldn't want a tougher hitter up, or at least the Bucks couldn't, from their point of view, than Matlock.
Hits it on the ground to Garcia. He goes to third to get Stargell and won't get him as his throw was off the mark, pulling DeCinces away from the bag. Madlock is on at first on the fielder's choice. Stargell went down hard. Willie was going to go rolling in there.
Well, it's not a good play on Stargell. That ball's hit in front of him.
Yeah, he made a bad.
And they have the play right there. Garcia has got him dead to rights. All he's got to do is make a good throw. But he throws it to the outfield side of the bag, and DeCinces makes an excellent play to just get onto the ball. As you see, Stargell, I don't know if Willie was going to slide or not. That was a late slide. He could have hurt himself. And he might have hurt himself a little bit.
So,
he's supposed to play golf tomorrow in Jimmy Rice's tournament down in Greenville, South Carolina. If he's banging himself up, he won't be able to hit the snap hooks.
There's the slide again. So we've seen the second error by the Birds, who erred yesterday. We have not had good fielding throughout the series. And if you want to second guess people, some will say, where was Belanger?
McGregor delivers to Nicosia. With 1 out, Stargell at third now. A ball to the outfield could get him home. Madlock at first.
Nicosia's had a tough series, Keith. He's 1 for 13.
Tell you, they're certainly not hitting McGregor. He's in trouble through no fault of his own.
Ball is hit sharply to the second baseman. Throw back to first, not in time. Dower had that ball on its way to first in a hurry. Stargell obviously didn't go anywhere at third base. Now you got 2 out.
Now look who comes up as you look at this play again.
Well, a little nonchalant by the third baseman, Madlock. That was a very close play at first base, going back in there standing up.
Here is Phil Garner. He has tormented the Birds throughout the series.
Dennis Martinez now gets up to throw in the Baltimore bullpen.
That was another good pitch by McGregor. He got the ball in on Nicosia and jammed him as you look at Dennis Martinez. Earl Weaver will do the same thing. He will go to, we said tonight, McGregor and Staff as you look at Stargell at third.
Now they will pitch to Garner. Walked him intentionally the last time to pitch to Bibby. Ball is popped up for Eddie Murray.
They call him out, interference. Right there to make the call is Bob Engel. As Murray was in foul territory and he came back across the line, and Garner cannot run into that infielder. And right there, Bob Engel to make the call. And the side retired, but Murray might be shaken up a little bit.
He is shaken up, but it was an absolutely proper call. Unmistakably so. And this kid McGregor, he really comes through with, man, he's a solid pitcher. Look at this.
Well, you can't, the rule is you can't run it. That's why you have that 45-foot line. You've got to go to the right. And now Murray coming around as Garner tries to sneak on the inside.
It's got to go between those 2 white lines.
And so the Pirates have turned away at the top of the 4th, 1-0 Baltimore.
All of a sudden, I'm maybe 5-7 feet from him, and boy, the ball comes back in, as it does a lot of times, and he comes back towards the inside. Well, I'm sort of leaning to the inside anyway because he's in foul territory, and at the last second, I'm just thinking, oh, I don't know, he may not catch it, so I'm trying to go around him on the inside to get to the base. Many people thought I hit him on purpose, which is absolutely not true. I play hard, but I don't play dirty, and I felt really embarrassed. I apologized to him later. He didn't want to hear it after the game, but I did want to apologize that I did not do that intentionally.
Join the team of professionals at Passavant Memorial Homes Family of Services who are dedicated to promoting choice and independence for individuals with intellectual disabilities, autism, and behavioral health needs. Visit pmhfos.org to learn more.
Done yet?
Yeah, sorry.
You sure?
Mm-hmm.
If you ride, you get it. GEICO Motorcycle. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Did you hear? You can sell your vehicle and get paid fast, all from the comfort of home. Introducing Sell.Barrel.com. Sell.Barrel.com is everything you need. It's fast. Tell us about your vehicle to get an instant offer. It's convenient. Drop your vehicle off or we'll pick it up for you. And it's simple. Get your offer, click for pickup, get paid fast. 3 simple steps without leaving home. So if you're looking for the best way to sell your vehicle, visit Sell.Barrel.com today.
Hi, I'm Ken Steidel.
And I'm Kenny Steinberg from Steidel & Steinberg. Many people have been through some tough times over the years for all kinds of reasons. Loss of a job, medical problems, separation, divorce, and we've been privileged to be there for you.
But I don't think we could ever have contemplated this.
Listen to the medical experts, and if you've been financially affected by what's been happening, let us know.
We will try to help. Steidel & Steinberg, goodbyedebt.com.
Join the team of professionals at Passavant Memorial Homes Family of Services who are dedicated to promoting choice and independence for individuals with intellectual disabilities, autism, and behavioral health needs. Visit pmhfos.org to learn more.
Heading into the bottom of the 5th, after Chuck Tanner had pinch hit for Jim Bibby in the top of the 5th, Don Robinson comes into the game, and there were some people that were a little surprised that you pulled Bibby after just 4 innings. But what Chuck Tanner had done and had done all year long was the fact that he just wanted to get the game to his bullpen.
Dunny, he had one of those hearts and mentalities where nothing bothered him. He grabbed the baseball in tough situations without even thinking twice about it. And, he's one of those guys that we had total confidence in, and he had total confidence in himself.
That's what Chuck had done all year. He stayed with his strategy he used all year. This guy's done well for us. I'll put you in, do your job, and let's see what happens.
Now Don Robinson, the second Pittsburgh pitcher of the night, as Jim Bibby has been lifted for a pinch hitter. Robinson, you see 8 and 8 on the year. That's what he's done in the World Series. He's worked 4 1/3 innings, allowed 3 hits. He's walked 5, struck out 3, but he picked up a win, and that was in game number 2 on the 9th inning single by Manny Sanguillen.
But the walk figure is what has to worry you about this young man, because with a very hard fastball and a very hard curve, there is a tendency toward wildness, and he can get you in trouble in a hurry.
And you know that Chuck Tanner will be keeping a close eye on him. Robinson has worked in game 1, he worked 2 innings. In game 2, when he picked up the win, he worked 2 innings. He was off in game 3. In game 4, he came back and he worked 1/3 of an inning. And that's been the last time that he has been on the mound. Now he will go to DeCinces, Dempsey, and Dower in that order. That is the lone tally of the ball game. A first pitch fastball to Dower, and Baltimore was on top 1-0, and that's where we stand. DeCinces, a 2-out single in the second inning. 0-1 the count. Looked like he kind of held back a little bit. Just kind of watch him on that. There's a good breaking pitch.
Really was. Tied Doogie up.
Take another peek at it, and he's got a good one. He's got a good, hard breaking pitch. Action out in the Pittsburgh bullpen. As you see, Tanner, he's not going to take any chances. He's got Bly, Levin, and Jackson. The line drive up. That's a base hit as Moreno will run it down. DeCinces aboard, and we'll see how Earl Weaver wants to play it right here. There's the bullpen. Bly Levin, the right-hander, and Jackson, the left-hander.
Bly Levin has been superb in this World Series. He's put to rout the notion that used to be rooted about the American League that he couldn't win the big ones. He sure has for the Bucks. There he is. DeCinces coming alive. 3 for 21 going into this game. He's 2 for 2 today.
Well, the leadoff hitter aboard, and here's Dempsey. As Weaver checks, he might bunt. 1-0 the count. Dower on deck, and then the pitcher spot, Scott McGregor.
Now let's see if Rick goes to right field. He admitted had a change of pace pitch, had him out in front in a key situation yesterday, causing him to hit into a double play, pulling the ball right to Tim Foley.
Dempsey shortening up that first pitch as if he was going to bunt, taking that pitch outside, but I got to believe Dower, the 8th place man, they might walk him with 1 out if the sacrifice is successful and just pitch to McGregor. And then go to the top of the order with Bumber.
That's a Weaver sacrifice.
That's if he sacrifices, that's right. First time up, he shortened up. The first pitch, I should say. Madlock thinks he's going to bunt. In a situation like this, if you use your good move to first base, at third baseman, all he's got to do is watch the hitter and see if he might give it away a little bit, if he is going to bunt or swing away. He's going to bunt, and it's fouled away. 1 ball, 1 strike, the count.
Let's see if he stays with the bunt.
Well, he's checking with his third base coach, Cal Ripken.
Those lines across the infield, marks from the football game, just barely see the yard lines all the way from one end of the field to the other. Runs right out through the infield.
The day Earl Campbell had last Sunday almost erased them all.
1 ball, 1 strike to Dempsey. Just outside, and the count 2-1. Nicosia, I believe, wanted that pitch.
Dempsey looking down to check that sign again.
Well, Earl Weaver, in a situation like this, you've got the hitter on top. He might turn it around. He's going to stay with a bunt. And he fouls it away.
Not anymore.
He'll take it off now. 2-2 the count. Dempsey looking at Ripken one more time. Madlock, he moves back with the 2-strike count. So he figures they'll take the bunt off. The infield set for 2, the outfield straight away. Foul right side. Count remains 2-2.
You see Rick now trying to go to right, which of course is the play.
1-0 Baltimore. We're in the bottom of the 5th. That's DeCinces at first with Stargell holding, and that opens up that hole on the right side as Garner cheating a little bit to his right and up a step or so. There you see that hole on that right side as Garner sets for 2. See Nicosia coming back to split finger. They're looking for the breaking pitch right here. Just got a piece of it. Count remains 2-2. Pittsburgh with 3 hits, Baltimore with 4, and Baltimore with a long ball to be on top 1-0 by Rich Dower. That home run coming in the 3rd. We're now in the bottom of the 5th. Foul again right side. Well, the count remains at 2-2. Rich Dower on deck.
Dempsey only a .239 average on the year, 6 home runs, 41 RBIs, yet with the capacity to somehow or other keep a rally going. And that's one of the key yardsticks to a really good ball player, not spiking a rally.
Breeze picks up just a little bit, blowing to left. That should be playable right field. Parker to the line. And that is out number 1.
Not that time.
Now Dempsey cannot sacrifice the runner along and flies to right. 1 out to Rich Dower.
Couldn't hit the ball down. Robinson didn't give him the pitch to Butcher Boy the ball.
Well, as we said before, it was Dower's home run to lead off the 3rd inning. That's the difference in this ball game. 1-0 Baltimore. Nicosia and Robinson will have a little chat. You know, the old coach out at USC, Keith, Rod Dato, got to be happy about that.
Yeah, he jumped 9 feet when he hit that ball.
That's one of his boys out of the University of Southern California.
Yeah. He was our teammate to Fred Lynn, too.
Monday Night Football, solid ball game. The Bronx against the Steelers. Throughout the Steelers lost to the Bengals. They've been injured. Some of them are getting well. They are the mighty Steelers.
Good breaking pitch by Robinson. 0-1 the count.
Robinson is looking surprisingly sharp with that breaking pitch.
Well, for a guy that's had the bad shoulder that we've heard about, there you see the breaking pitch again. He's throwing well.
Broncos stay up there year in and year out, Keith, with that defense.
Pittsburgh must be a mess, though, after what happened to him last week. That's so many people that had trouble getting enough to suit up, didn't they?
3 linebackers out, Lynn Swan out. But they'll be back.
Runner goes, and it's fly to center. Moreno, lots of room, playable. Out number 2. Yeah, that will bring up the pitcher spot, and it'll be Scott McGregor. He bounced it short his first time at bat.
You hate to get a man on to open an inning and never move. Yeah, One of the funny things about McGregor, his sister Jean works in the office of Dr. Robert Kurland, the noted surgeon on the West Coast, orthopedic surgeon. Scotty says, Palmer sees my sister more than I do.
Well, the fastball is high. The count 1-0. McGregor, a switch hitter. And he swings the bat pretty well. Two and 0. On deck, Bunbury. 1-0 Baltimore, bottom of the 5th.
Blyleven and Jackson stay warm in the Pittsburgh bullpen.
They're about warm. They will throw. You look at Bunbury, and then they'll turn around and watch the action. This is outside, and it's 3-0. Well, after DeCinces singled, Robinson got Dempsey on a fly ball to Parker in right, Dower on a fly ball to Moreno in center, but now has fallen behind 3 balls and no strikes to McGregor. There's the strike, and the count goes to 3-1. Stargell, you see, holding DeCinces at first. Strike 2, full count, 3-2, 2 outs. DeCinces will be going.
You knew Earl Weaver wasn't giving him the hit sign.
Well, if he had the take sign, he'll take it off now.
No choice.
Runner goes. Foul left side.
Chuck Tanner. I think during this series, he has earned the respect of everybody who follows sports.
He's a heck of a guy. He really has.
Really is. Class man.
Full count, 3-2. Stargell playing behind DeCinces, who goes. The next pitch fouled out of play.
Scotty's hanging tough. And there's the man who was named the American League Manager of the Year by the Sporting News. But Earl, with a suddenly developed habit of biting his nails, as you saw, and in the pregame interview, how was your inner confidence? He said, shaky, Howard, shaky.
Runner goes again, and it's low for ball 4, and he walks in.
All right, we come to Bunbury, the man who has not come through, the man who is now 3 out of 20 on the series. But the man who is a much better hitter than that, and the key to the Baltimore Ball Club, because when he's getting on, he makes things happen. Here comes Chuckaroo.
He's liable to go to the bullpen. Jackson was throwing in the bullpen along with Blyleven, and he's going to go to Jackson. He's not going to take any chances right here. And now the move will go to Earl Weaver as you look at Jackson. Now,
well, let's see if he puts Renicky in, because Renicky is a good hitter, but he is not that good a center fielder. As you see Jackson coming in, and we'll be back in a moment.
I'm like Donnie Robinson. I was a starter before I became a reliever. When I was with the Orioles, I was the middleman, starter, short man. So like I said again, it's whatever it takes for us to win. I do it.
Well, the numbers on Grant Jackson: 72 appearances in 1979, outstanding ERA. He pitched for Baltimore back in 1971. He had a record of 4-3 in 29 games for them. He had 9 starts. And in the World Series against Pittsburgh, he pitched 1/3 of an inning. And this is what he has done here in the 1979 series. And he was the top left-handed reliever for them, for the Orioles, 71 through 75. Now he's wearing the other color.
He went with the Yankees, did yeoman service for them. Birds wanted to get him back, and they did, ultimately. Now he's staying with Bunbury, and clearly with a 1-run edge, is staying with him for defense.
Well, he's got to do that. Right now, you've got left-hander to left-hander, and that's one of the things that Chuck Tanner had in his mind, too, besides not taking any chances with Robinson, as that pitch fouled away. That is DeCinces at second base. At first base, the pitcher, Scott McGregor. 0-1 to Bunbury, who's 0 for 2, has bounced to the first baseman, Stargell, and has popped to short. Good play by Nicosia. That breaking pitch, farther it got outside, the more it kept breaking. Nicosia, of course, with that piece hanging down under the mask, as we've said before, just to keep the foul tips away from the throat. 1 ball, 2 strikes a count. Bunbury does not have the same swing against the left-handers he does a right-hander.
He really doesn't. Everything is defensive. He's falling away from the ball and just laying the bat out. He's 0 for 3 against Jackson in this series.
The last appearance by Jackson was in Game 4 on Saturday. He faced just 2 hitters. Retired both men. Two and two the count.
You know, in effect, Bunbury was a free agent, played out his contract, and waited for the offers, and then gave the Birds a chance to top it, which they did. Look at that.
Looper, it's playable. There's Madlock in front of the Baltimore dugout to make the play. So it's still 1-0 through 5, and we'll be back with more baseball after this word from our local stations.
The way Chuck had used our bullpen all year long, the entire goal was to get the game to Grant Jackson or myself or a combination of the two of us for the last 3 innings of the ball game. So, this is Game 7 of the World Series. There are no restrictions. We don't have to save anybody to be rested for tomorrow. So when Donnie gets a couple guys on, Chuck goes, okay, I got 2 guys. I've got to get to the end of the game. I think these 2 guys can get me there.
When we face adversity, we find a way through it. It's about taking care of each other. It's the small parts that make a big difference. At Chevy, we promise to do ours. To help keep you on the road, your Chevy certified service experts are here and ready to help. If you require parts, maintenance, or repairs, Chevy and its dealers remain committed to your vehicle needs. You can even schedule your appointment online. It's just our way of doing our part.
Most of us want to make some type of difference in the lives of others. St. Jude does miraculous work.
The fact that no one has to pay, it's a place where everyone is treated as an equal.
Everybody is welcome here, and it doesn't matter, your religion or, what part of the world you're from, that just sort of all that is taken away. It just gives you some hope.
Yo siento que soy parte de esa bendición que ese niño recibió al irse a su casa ya sanado.
It's just a nice feeling to put your energy into something that really does genuinely make a difference in a child's life.
There's just no greater gift. If we have the ability to help, then we have a responsibility to help.
When we're down 1-0, okay, we're not where we want to be, but we're okay. We're still within range.
I don't think there was ever a thought. Not on the bench, it never seemed to me like there was ever a thought that we're, oh my goodness, we're down and we're running out of time. It seemed to me like it was the other way around. Boys, it's getting closer till somebody's getting ready to do something.
McGregor was pitching in that 7th game, and he had threw Stargell a slider, and Stargell fouled it off. And he walked by me and say, if he throws that pitch to me late in the game, I'm going to get him.
Well, we've talked so much about how Dempsey handles this Baltimore staff. Howard talked to him. He had his opinions of Scott McGregor.
Now, do you feel that Scotty has the ability to hold together the second time around against this club?
Well, I definitely do. I have a lot of confidence in Scotty. He's been our best pitcher the second half, along with Mike Flanagan. They've been throwing very close together. And he's consistent. He's not going to walk anybody up there tonight. He's going to go right after him. And they're going to have to swing the bats like they have been. in order to beat us. But I really have a lot of confidence in Scotty, and if he should happen to get into some trouble, we still got Flanagan coming out of the bullpen to back him up.
Well, Scotty has only walked one batter, and that was an intentional walk to Phil Garner in the second inning. So Dempsey's words ring presently true.
And it'll be Parker, Robinson, and Stargell, the meat part of that Pittsburgh lineup here in the sixth. 1-0 Baltimore.
This should be a testing inning for the young southpaw.
That'll be out of play left side. So through 5 innings and 1 pitch to Parker, McGregor has thrown 57 pitches.
Remember what Parker told us in the interview you heard earlier. Explained why so many of his hits were going to left field. Inability to push off the back foot because of the damaged knee.
Jams him with a good fastball. Dower to Murray, out number 1. Boy, that was an excellent pitch by McGregor. Did you look at it again?
Last time he struck him out with a high tight pitch. Here he jams him, as Don told you. And that was all he could do with it.
Now there's one gone to Bill Robinson. He's popped to third and popped to the catcher. 0 for 2.
Pitch like that, you're better off going inside out.
Good change. Now that's the change that McGregor taught Flanagan. These two are very close friends, fishing partners. Hit hard. Garcia on the hop, coming up and over the glove as Lowenstein will get it back in. A big turn by Robinson, but he'll hold it first. So 1 out, 1 on to Stargell. That ball hit hard and had the top spin.
Nothing Garcia could do with it. The ball played him. Look at this hop.
Well, that's a base hit. The hits are even at 4 apiece. Baltimore on top 1-0 to Willie Stargell.
That McGregor changeup that you've seen so much of tonight.
Hit well, right field. Singleton to the wall, and this ball is gone.
Willie Stargell, the big man. 7 times he had come to the plate in this series with runners in scoring position and failed. But suddenly, and we said this would be a testing inning for the young southpaw, suddenly with 1 swing in the race in the wake of Robinson's bad hop single, turns it around for the moment.
Now the Pirates, they're a happy bunch as they greet the old pro, Willie Stargell.
And in the 7th game, with the chips on the line, Stargell is 3 for 3 as you look at the Pittsburgh cheering section that has come in from the Steel City.
2-1 Pittsburgh as Madlock fouls the first pitch away. Well, that fastball down and over the plate, and Stargell got it all. You're going right into a dangerous zone when you get that ball down to Stargell. Look at the bullpenners. They're rooting it out.
Wonder.
That will be just foul. That ball's fair. It's a base hit.
This game, by the way, a 1-run game. It's the Birds kind of game throughout the year. Hang in there, come back, win it. And this young man won't knuckle under.
And the bell rings in the Baltimore bullpen. We get some action out there.
But Willie Stargell, who came into this game 8 for 25 in the series, is now 11 for 28. And maybe he's thinking about MVP.
High hopper, a fair ball to Sensei, a tough play to get him.
Great play. That's at least twice in this series that Doogie has gone deep behind third and made the longest kind of throw a third baseman can make.
Well, he is over in foul territory. A good play. He sets in a good, strong throw to get him. And Madlock, he can move down the line. Now there's 2 gone. Willie Stargell just kind of savoring that last swing of the bat, but it's still an iffy situation. This is Nicosia, and the play by the shortstop, and that is out number 3. So Pittsburgh going in the 6th, but they picked up 2, and after 5.5, it is now 2-1 Pittsburgh.
Willie hits the home run in the top of the 6th inning. And it was almost like you got this feeling, we've got enough. we've got enough.
McGregor had been extremely tough on us, so we were waiting for something to happen for him to crack, and that was the pitch that we was waiting on.
The momentum swings in these last games are monstrous. You know it going in that once we get the upper hand, we're going to keep it.
For him to do that after the season he's had, remember he was co-MVP that year, yeah, it was a storybook, perfect ending.
Swinging a deep fly ball to right, and Josh Bell has hit another one out of here.
And welcome to PNC Park.
Kevin Newman, his second home run of the game, just won it. Raise the Jolly Roger.
This is our home. We've never seen it look quite like this.
But there's no mistaking it.
And it's our job to protect it.
Because the best people to fight for our communities
are those within them.
So if you've just bought a Volkswagen or were thinking of buying sometime soon, we're here to help with the community-driven promise.
This is a payday bar. It has a truckload of peanuts and a caramel core that gets the job done. It's 10.5 centimeters of awesome, unless you get the king size, which is 14.7 centimeters of, oh yeah. Payday. Get to it.
In a world ravaged by tiny, insignificant, minuscule fish sandwiches, there is only one incredible, enormous, like it's really big, fish sandwich. The whale of a cod. Eaton Park's whale of a cod fish sandwich. Yeah, it's big. Want to take it with you? Try Eaton Park's Fish Fry to Go. 2 whale of a cod sandwiches, chips, plus soup or coleslaw for only $19.99.
This is the Frells family's land. They grew their first tomatoes right here. And when it snows, the kids go sledding right there. The Frells family runs with us on a John Deere 1 Series tractor because this is more than just land. It's home. Search John Deere 1 Series for more.
Grant Jackson was one of the veteran leaders. He was a calming influence on the team, especially in the bullpen.
Grant was a guy that, there was nothing you could throw at him that he hadn't seen before. He had done it all. He was a very confident person.
The more the pressure, the more I loved it. Bases loaded, give me the ball and sit down and watch.
There's the line score in the ball game. And we'll go to the Baltimore 7th inning of play in the final game of the 1979 World Series. Gary Renicky will come to the plate to face Grant Jackson. Right-handed hitter replacing John Lowenstein in the batting order. DeCinces on deck, and then you'll have Rick Dempsey. Renicky will go play left field almost surely. That's his favorite position.
Well, you got to be careful with this guy. He's got power. He had 25 home runs on the year.
Jackson is high and away in his first pitch to Renicky for ball 1. Baltimore has stranded 3 base runners so far in the ball game. That pitch is on the inside corner.
Oh, that was a beauty. That tied him up. A lot of action in the Pittsburgh bullpen. Steady action. Look at this again.
Right there.
Strike 2.
Renicky, a little unusual hitting stance. He probably carries his hands lower than anybody in the American League in his stance when he gets into his position.
Rooker has joined Blyleven now in the Baltimore bullpen. Rooker, the left-hander. And Renicky is gone.
Jackson
just like
made
that.
It look easy. Look at the bullpen.
Look, Blyleven and Rooker. Blyleven, the right-hander, Rooker, the left-hander. They teamed up for the last win, a must-win, over in Pittsburgh on Sunday. That got him back here to Baltimore.
Well, you had Chuck Tanner going with a left-right combination in the last 2 games, there being Candelaria and Jacoby. Tonight he went with a right-hand lead, and it looked shaky for a while, but now he's back on top at 2-1 with the old pro Grant Jackson out there, 1 out, and DeCinces at the plate. And it's just low.
Boy, that's a great asset, Keith, for a manager that when he's got quality guys in the bullpen that go from either side.
DeCinces hits it to center field, not too deep. Moreno comes gliding in and makes the catch.
Look how far Garner was out there.
Yeah, he's way out. He gives up on nothing.
Got to think about Garner when you talk about MVP.
Right now, there's a fellow named Starger.
If it turns around, who knows about Scotty McGregor. Rick Dempsey.
There he is.
Here's a guy that's got to get a vote or two, too. Maybe more than that.
The presence.
You see Starger looking in at Nicosia. Had his hands out to the side. Said, yeah, I'll be alive if he bunts. They move him over to the line to guard the line. You've got the third baseman Madlock guarding the line, and also Stargell. He's just a big step off the line at first.
Hits it in the air to left field. Bill Robinson coming in, makes the catch. And so Grant Jackson's impressive as he cuts them down in order. 2-1 Pittsburgh. Back with more baseball after this word from our local station.
The uniforms were unique. We didn't particularly like them a whole lot, but we did like, what they brought to us. There was no doubt about it. We liked people noticing us, and that definitely caused them to notice us.
Pittsburgh was definitely a trendsetter with those uniforms. Stovepipe hats, the multiple changes of uniform gave us a uniqueness that nobody else had in the league.
The yellow uniforms were very light and they stretched very well. The black uniforms were heavy, believe it or not. So you're playing in the middle of summer and those things were heavy and, oh, they were uncomfortably hot. And the striped ones wouldn't stretch. So if it had been up to us, we'd all played in those yellows all the time.
Hey fans, this is Pirates manager Derek Shelton from my home in St. Pete Beach, Florida. Even though we are not playing right now, it is very important to be part of the stay home team. It is very important for our healthcare workers that you stay home, you stay healthy, you stay safe. Thank you very much.
At Chatham University, college is about so much more than where you earn your degree. It's about what exploring the fields of healthcare, sustainability, arts and design, and the sciences mean to your future. It's about how hands-on research and training prepares you for a career, and why having engaged, empowering faculty makes a difference to your success. With all of that said, you should see where you will earn your degree. You really should.
The world is talking about coronavirus, but it's hard to know what to listen to. We have answers to your questions like, who's most at risk for coronavirus? People over 65. People with underlying medical conditions like heart disease, chronic lung disease, asthma, diabetes. People undergoing cancer treatment, and people with weakened immune systems. What should you do if you or a loved one is at higher risk? Avoid close contact with people. Avoid crowds. Stay home if you can. Wash your hands frequently. Learn more ways to protect yourself and others at coronavirus.gov. Together, we can help stop the spread.
Phil Garner was the perfect guy to play in the middle of the infield with Tim Foley because they had just enough clash between the two of them. Garner's scrappy style, Foley's I know everything style.
He was extremely consistent. He was also very smart. He knew where to play. He and I'd get in arguments at times because he's telling me where to play. I said, mind your own business. I know where I'm going to play over here. No, you need to be over here. You need to move with me. He was right most of the time, but there were times when we would deviate.
President Jimmy Carter with Commissioner Kuhn and House Speaker Tip O'Neill Sitting down now as we go to the bottom of the 8th inning for Baltimore. And they send up Rich Dower, the second baseman, the pitcher's spot. McGregor's out on deck, and then the top of the order. 2-1, Pittsburgh. Dower, who hit a 355-foot home run down the left field line, just drilled it right into the seats. The Baltimore's only run. Grant Jackson continuing to pitch for Pittsburgh, and that's hit high in the air to the left side for Foley, the shortstop. 1 out.
I tell you, this Jackson has come on, and he is doing some job. Thing you have to remember about Baltimore, the same was true during the season of the Bucks. Each team with a tremendous late inning ability.
Here comes Muscle to the plate. Lee May hitting for Scott McGregor.
This guy can kill you.
Here's one kind of the shames, or you might say, that of this series. This isn't right to me sometimes. When you stop and think of one year they have the designated hitter, another year they don't. Here's a guy that has done an outstanding job for the Baltimore Orioles over the last couple of years. This year, used primarily as a designated hitter, and he's only been at bat 1 time. That's something that I just can't quite agree with that. There's Rick Dempsey.
That picture tells a lot about this man. You can see disappointment there, and you can see hope there.
Lee May had 19 home runs this past season, so maybe he's the guy Earl was talking about. Not the long ball, who knows?
Well, there's no question the absence of the designated hitter rule has worked very hard against the Birds in this series.
Jackson changes, and it's 2 balls and no strikes to Lee May.
Grant Jackson has faced this guy before many times. He knows what he can do with a swing of the bat.
2-1.
And you know Lee May is up there thinking one thing.
Yes, sir.
Good swing, good contact. Try and pull it and get it in the air.
I must say Earl Weaver has made marvelous use of his pinch hitters in this series. Tied the series record of 6 pinch hits in one series. A record accomplished by 3 other teams.
Jackson walks Lee May. I suspect we'll have a runner very shortly for him. Yes. Here comes Mark Belanger out of the dugout. He will run for May.
Thought he had a bad leg.
Yeah. But bad leg and all, he's quicker, I suspect, than Lee. Now, May does his job in one way. He gets a runner at first base with 1 out. Jacoby and Rooker in the bullpen now for the Pirates. Jacoby, the right-hander.
Bunbury, the man, the key man for the Birds.
Pitches in the dirt.
The man who's been so good. That was a fine play by Steve Nicosia.
Excellent play, because this ball down in the dirt, and he moves out in a hurry to make the play. Good play.
Got the whole glove behind it. Bunbury's failures throughout the series have tossed heavily.
Crowd coming up to their feet. Bunbury slides up the bat handle. The pitch is low. 2 balls and no strikes. We're at the bottom of the 8th inning, and Memorial Stadium is fairly rocking. Belanger off first. 2-1 ball game, and Jackson hits the strike zone to make it 2-1.
Fitting and proper, it's come down to this. 2 teams so evenly matched. 2 teams that claw at you and claw at you.
Bunbury takes it. It's 3-1.
Well, right now, Grant Jackson, he's walking a tightrope as they've got Jacoby and Rooker in the bullpen and Garcia on deck.
Crowley is available as a pinch hitter, left-handed swinger. 3-2.
There's Belanger at first. I got to believe that Earl Weaver, if he's got that bad leg or anything at all, he's not going to have him thrown out at second base.
Mark goes. Bunbury fouls it off. No, sir. He wants him to outrun that double play if it turns up in any form. One out.
Half the crowd now on its feet.
Belanger goes, and again, it's fouled away at the plate.
As Belanger's running, he's not showing any noticeable sign of a limp.
No, he's just running slowly.
No.
The center fielder Moreno is shaded toward the left side. A lot of room in right center for Bunbury. A lot of room.
Well, here's the gamble that Weaver's taken. He's gambling against a line drive at somebody.
Belanger goes again. It's pop foul back here.
But, Keith, that's exactly what he's doing, starting Belanger, trying to stay out of that double play at second base. Bunbury still has the hole to hit through on that first base side because Stargell has to hold Belanger. That's
the
score.
Recap of the scoring. The one-run home run by Rich Dower in the third, and then the two-run home run by Willie Stargell for the Bucks in the sixth. And that's the way it is. 2-1. Bottom of the eighth. Tension could not be greater.
Mark goes. Pitches high. Ball four. Bunbury's on. Now Garcia is called back. Benny Ayala comes out of the dugout.
Now what he's doing right here, he's making Chuck Tanner force his hand. If he goes with Ayala and Tanner lets Jackson pitch to him, or if he comes with a left-hander, I should say a right-hander, now he's still got Crowley on the bench.
It's exactly what he's planning. So,
Rooker is in the pen. Jacoby's in the pen for Pittsburgh. Chuck Tanner will not make a move until Ayala is announced. That means Belanger will go to short in the top of the ninth. Now here comes Chuck as Ayala is announced and comes to the plate. And sure, it'll be Kent Jacoby. Yep, right-hander. And Jacoby will be the fourth Pittsburgh pitcher in the ball game, but Jackson did a fine job while he was in there. Boy, Jacoby was something last night. So time is out in the bottom of the eighth inning. Pittsburgh leading Baltimore 2-1, and we're waiting for a pitching change for Pittsburgh.
Kent Jacoby was the most unlikely-looking hero of all time. Bob Prince, the late announcer of the Pirates, said he looks like a tree full of owls because he had those big glasses on. He was tall and lanky. He reminded you of Ichabod Crane from The Legend of Sleepy Hollow.
He doesn't look like a player, but he's definitely a tough competitor and had great stuff.
Jacoby's the worst athlete I've ever seen in my life. He just was a horrible athlete. But the guy was incredibly good. He had it locked down when he came in.
Times are hard right now, but Pittsburghers are tough, and we always get through it. We want you to know we're here when you need us most. Call Dugan & Associates, 888-99-DUGAN.
The Pittsburgh Pirates say thank you to all those serving others and serving on the front lines so that we can all stay home.
This is the Frells family's land. They grew their first tomatoes right here. And when it snows, the kids go sledding right there. The Frells family runs with us on a John Deere 1 Series tractor because this is more than just land. It's home. Search John Deere 1 Series for more.
I'm attorney Mitch Dugan of Dugan & Associates. If you've been receiving workers' compensation payments, we may be able to get you a lump sum settlement that could help you get on with your life. Call Dugan & Associates, 888-99-DUGAN.
What surprised me the most when I entered Game 7, probably the most crucial appearance, and in fact it was the most crucial appearance of my entire baseball career, was that I wasn't nervous. It was just like every other appearance. And Willie's waiting at the mound for me. All he wants to do is talk about the fact that I've got 3 left-handers coming up. The scouting reports say I don't pitch as well against left-handers as I do against right-handers, so therefore he wants to pitch and I should go play first base. Well, guess what? That relaxes. If there had been any tension at all at that point in time, it was all gone now.
Here he is. As Tom Lasorda described him, a tall, skinny nightmare. Kent Jacoby walking to the mound, and he was absolutely spectacular last night. He just baffled the last 6 men to come to the plate for Baltimore in the 8th and 9th inning.
Look at Willie talking to him. So poised, that Starch. See that? Smile of reassurance and words of reassurance. So the Squire of Bethel Park, Pennsylvania, takes the mound.
Crowley now gets the call for Baltimore. Left-handed pinch hitter and outstanding during the regular season, and in the series ripped off one of those big doubles over in Pittsburgh that played such a major part in Baltimore winning.
Against that pitcher, against Jacoby.
It was Lowenstein and Crowley had back-to-back doubles in almost exactly the same place in the right field corner as Jacoby's pitchers were up. Last night his pitchers were right where he wanted them. And he was untouchable. Rooker and Blyleven still out in the pen. Rooker is ready. Rich Dower a home run in the bottom of the 3rd inning. 1-0 lead to Baltimore. Robinson a single, Stargell a home run to give Pittsburgh a 2-1 lead in the top of the 6th. We're now in the bottom of the 8th inning with 1 out. Scott McGregor taken out. Lee May hit for him. Grant Jackson walked him. Then Al Bumbry was walked. Ayala announced the hit for Garcia. Pitching change made. Jacoby coming in. Earl Weaver then goes to Terry Crowley. Jacoby ready. Mark Belanger off second base. The first pitch is outside. Al Bumbry at first base. Bumbry the swifter of the 2, but Belanger is quick enough. High pop left side. Hanging up in the air, Matlock going right to the rail, and it's in the crowd.
I'll tell you one thing, there's some stomachs churning down in both of those dugouts.
Nothing at stake.
Huh?
Only the whole year's work.
Oh, yeah.
The championship ring.
Garcia with a drink of water. It's a difference, probably. We don't know for sure.
Not that much. About 5,000.
Yeah, something like that. 6,000 maybe. Looks like it might be 28 and 22.
Ballpark estimate, something like that, or maybe 30 and 25. Look at Rick Benson.
1-1 pitch to Crowley. 2-1.
He followed that pitch well. He stayed over it. He saw it was tailing out.
A 2-1 pitch now to Terry Crowley as Jacoby is taking his time pitching at his own pace. Crowley's letting him. Hits it on the ground toward the second baseman, Garner. He'll go to first and get the second out. The runners move up. Belanger to third, Bumbry to second, and Ken Singleton comes to the plate.
Well, this is what you're getting down to right now. As Jacoby, of course, he's got first base open, but that doesn't mean anything. You've got Eddie Murray, the switch hitter, coming behind Kenny Singleton.
And he is overdue.
Yeah, but he's also in a big slump. I would think he'll pitch Singleton very, very carefully, which he would under any circumstances anyway, but try to get him to go for a bad pitch.
Jacoby's got to stay with his game plan. He can't worry about anything. He pitches his own way. He's a low ball pitcher, sinker ball pitcher. They will walk Singleton and they will go to Eddie Murray. And the case being right here that what it gives Chuck Tanner and his infielders, it gives him a force at any base.
So now the pressure shifts over to Eddie Murray, who has struck out swinging twice. It fouled out to the first baseman. He is 0 for 3 in tonight's ball game. That makes him 0 for 20 in the last 5 games of the World Series.
Now here's a case where Baltimore is just 90 feet away from tying this ball game up. They have done nothing offensively with the bat to get in this position because the bases are loaded with walks.
So Singleton intentionally passed at first base. Belanger is at third. He's the most important man at this point to get the score tied. Bumbry would be the go-ahead man up at second. And now the heat is really on in the kitchen for Eddie Murray.
I'll tell you, the heat's on for both of them. On for Murray, and it's also on for Jacoby. He's still got to be fine, and he can't afford to put him on. There's no place to put him. He's got to throw strikes.
But it is on more for Murray because he's the kind of young man who fights himself. 0 for 20. Look back to the second game of the series when he was hot. Hit that screamer, that homer into the middle deck.
Fouled at the plate, strike one.
Tanner's face speaks for itself, but Murray had his pitch that last pitch, Don.
You know what's funny? You think you go to spring training in March, you do all the hard work, you fight yourself through a grueling season, go down to the last day to win the pennant, go to a championship series, and it comes down to possibly 1 out.
A 1-strike pitch to Murray. Foul behind the plate, and Jacoby is out in front at 2 strikes, and now he can be double touched.
That's true, but neither of those pitches was a typical Jacoby pitch. They were not low. They were up there.
He got it up a little bit, and I think Nicosia is going out to talk to him right now, saying, come on, if you're ever going to make a ball sink, make this sucker sink right now, man.
Yes, sir. Look at that. That ball is right up and in there.
Well, your tendency, I suspect, in these circumstances might be to overthrow just a little. If you do that, it's...
And you do that if you're a sinker ball pitcher, and actually it straightens the ball out.
Yeah, that's right. 2 strikes to Murray. Bases loaded, outside. This might be a good time for him to come over the top on one of his infrequent occasions.
I don't know whether he was talking about that in the dugout today. He doesn't do that too often.
He probably is playing. I wouldn't blame him. One and 2 the count. 2 out. Bases loaded. Pittsburgh 2. Baltimore 1. Bottom of the 8th inning. Belanger at third. Bumbry at second. Singleton at first. Crowd on its feet. 7th game of the World Series. Just outside. 2 and 2.
He does not want to go 3 and 2. Discipline in Murray to lay off of the bad pitch, and also there's got to be discipline in Jacoby trying to still nip that corner.
Ball is hit to right field. Parker going back, stumbles, flags it down, one-handed. Dave Parker ran into a rough spot. It appeared in the outfield, or maybe it's the bad knee. Whatever, he wobbled. But he got back to make the play. And Baltimore is retired with the bases loaded in a 2-1 ball game after 8 innings of play. And right here, the Pittsburgh dugout must have really had an anxious moment. Parker goes right back to the edge of the track to make the catch. Whew, what a moment. We'll be right back with the 9th inning.
I'm coming off the field, and just like the Pirates, the Buccos, Bill Madlock told me, he said, you better be glad you didn't fall, because you could have just kept running through the right field fence and out of the stadium, you know. And here we are right in the middle of a World Series 7th game, and he got nerve enough to be joking like that. That was the kind of team that we had.
I turned around when the ball was hit, and Dave had started to go back, and he hit one of those wet spots, and we had not had a problem on that field the whole night. And Dave probably took out a 6-inch deep pile of mud, and he just hit a bad spot. But fortunately, he kept his balance and made the play. It wasn't a particularly difficult call, but had he had fallen down, I mean, obviously, you've got a different scenario then.
The pitch, although it was up just a little bit, was on the outside part of the plate, and he just couldn't get the good part of the bat on it. That's how, you know, we got to that point, and that's really why we walked Ken Singleton. Chuck was willing to put the pressure on me to pitch with the bases loaded, to get the guy to the plate that we knew if we could make our pitches, we could get him out.
Taxes are complicated. With so many ways to file your return, where do you start? You start with a call. At Duncan Financial Group, our team of trusted tax professionals will work alongside you to implement strategies that minimize your taxes and maximize your refund. This year, we are offering new individual and business tax clients 15% off tax preparation services. Visit us online and we'll make it all work together for you.
While others worry or bend to market whims, we stand strong, knowing that a solid strategy contributes to success, even in the most uncertain times. Our intelligent long-range approach is designed to preserve capital and maximize growth and income. After all, nothing matters more than protecting what is yours. Fort Pitt Capital Group. Your future is our focus.
In the top of the 9th inning, Weaver recognized he's got to keep it to 1 run, or A, much of his offense is taken away from him, and B, again, the psychological ramification of giving up 1 or 2 in the top of the 9th is deadly on the Orioles coming to bat in the bottom of the 9th.
We felt like we needed an insurance run or two because of Baltimore being the team that they were. They were a great team, and we were a better team.
Our thing is keep beating them. If they're still breathing, keep beating them. Because I want to. There's no such thing as a lock.
Mark Belanger, the great Golden Glover at shortstop now, here in the top of the 9th inning for Baltimore. And on the mound, in relief of Scott McGregor, Big Tim Stoddard. Don Stanhouse said he was ready, but apparently he didn't sell Earl Weaver on the idea at all, and this big guy has performed well. Stoddard will be pitching to Garner, the pitcher spot, and then the top of the order. And in Game 7, 8 years ago today, October 17, 1971, Pittsburgh beat Baltimore 2-1.
And Willie Stargell scored the winning run.
Right.
That's amazing, isn't it? I don't believe you could have written a script like that if it ends this way.
That's the scoring summary. Dower, the homer.
Well, I'll say one thing. I just take my hats off to both of these ball clubs. It's been an exciting series. I hope that people watching it at home have felt the excitement that we've had here in the booth. It's been a great series to watch.
There's been a certain degree of unpredictability about it that has just made it vibrant at times. And there have been some moments of poor play, too.
Well, the Birds winning 2 of 3 at Three Rivers. And the Bucks with a chance now, if they can last one more inning, to win 2 of 2 here at Memorial Stadium.
Garner drills it into the corner on Stoddard's first pitch. Ricochets off the wall, and Garner goes banging into second base with a stand-up double.
So he is now 12 for 24 in the series.
And Jacoby will hit.
Not a bad series for the young man. Started so poorly. Very first inning of the first game. Made the 2-run wild throw. Remember, on the Lowenstein grounder.
Pitcher, Kent Jacoby.
Garner coming off second as Earl Weaver prowls around in the dugout.
Somehow Earl always seems defiant, no matter the situation, no matter the score.
Bunt is obvious. Jacoby pulls the bat away, and Dempsey fires it into second base, and Garner is back. And Phil, I'm sure, feels more comfortable now. He finally got his britches dirty. Oh, he is a scratcher. He was way off the bag at second, and he has to go diving back in as Dempsey pulled the trigger on him. See the ball come whistling in. 1 strike. Jacoby gets it down. Garner will stay at second, and the pitcher Stoddard bouncing off the mound, throws to Dower, covering it first for the first out. So the sacrifice effort does not work. Earl Weaver now coming out of the dugout and on his way to the mound, and looks like he wants a left-hander out of the bullpen. The left-hander would be Mike Flanagan. Mike Flanagan, who has had a bit of a sore back, but he's been out in the pen for quite a while warming up. And now Mike gets the call. Made 2 starts in the World Series. Tim Stoddard comes in, and Weaver convinced instantly, almost instantly, that he doesn't have the sharpness that he wants out on the mound here in the top of the 9th inning. Garner doubles in the left field corner. Jacoby is out trying to sacrifice, and here comes Flanagan. 2-1 ball game. Baltimore left the bases loaded in the bottom of the 8th. Ball is hit up the middle. Foley will come around, Garner will come around third and break to the plate standing. And it is 3-1, and that's exactly what Earl Weaver was trying to prevent. So Moreno hits it right up the middle to bring Garner home. And it's 3-1, and Weaver's on his way back to the mound.
So they get the insurance run, and you have to admire Omar Moreno. He got off to the most dreadful start as you look at it again, with that quick, clean, level swing right back up the middle. He has hit so many there in the last 3 games, and the young man, after that dreadful start in the World Series, is now 11 for 33. He's wound up hitting .333. Still, extraordinarily, the Bucks, with all their speed, have not stolen a base in this series, but right now, it's not mattering as you look at Stan the Man Unusual.
Don Stanhouse does get the call, and the reason for it, Tim Foley is the next hitter for Pittsburgh, and he hits from the right side. Dave Parker comes to the on-deck circle, and as Stanhouse comes walking to the mound, Parker and Foley are having a talk. 3-1. Big, big, big run here in the top of the 9th inning. So here is Don Stanhouse. to pitch to Tim Foley.
There are the figures Keith was just talking about. You're looking at Willie Stargell in the backdrop. He's the man who told me he'd tread water in the Pacific for 9 hours to play in a World Series. Well, he's not only played in it, he has starred in it.
The Pirate shortstop Foley, collared tonight, but has 9 hits in this World Series. Moreno at first base. A run is in. Garner doubled off Tim Stoddard in the left field corner. Jacoby failed to sacrifice him over to third, but Moreno delivered him on a single up the middle against Mike Flanagan. And now it is Stanhouse. 3-1 Pittsburgh. So Stanhouse trying to hold Moreno close. One more run and would really make it grim.
Look at that dressing. The Bucks, as you see Matt Locke's name. Hello, Bill.
Stanhouse is in. Foley ready. Moreno edging off at first. And Stanhouse goes back over there as Murray holds him in the inside corner. They give Foley the left field line. They don't believe he'll pull Stanhouse. Center fielder Bunbury way over in right center. He can take it up the middle to about 4 acres. The pitch is high. Pittsburgh leading 3-1 in the top of the 9th inning, trying to win the 5th World Series title in the history of the franchise. Ball club owned for 31 years by the John Galbraith family. High fastball. Foley took a rip at it. It's 1-1. Bob Uecker, Don Drysdale will be in the clubhouses after the ball game. Stanhouse most deliberate. 1-1 pitch, 1-2.
Foley, Mr. Contact, the man who appears almost never to strike out. So skilled at hitting behind the run.
Moreno at first with 1 out. Stanhouse lobs it over. More World Series have ended, or gone, I should say, the distance, 7 games, than any other time. 26 times the series has gone 7.
16 of those 26 times, the visiting team has been the winner.
Moreno goes. Ball is hit out into center field. There's nobody there, and Moreno turns and goes on to third. So Tim Foley punched it right out there where there was nobody.
It's almost as if he picks his spot and has the ability to hit it there.
Weaver coming back to the mound one more time. And you've got Dave Parker scheduled to come up. You've got Tippy Martinez throwing in the Baltimore bullpen. You may get another pitching change. As you see, Foley just jumped on that high fastball and rode it, just lifted it right out there in center field, and there was nobody there. The left fielder, Renicky, was playing him straight away. The center fielder, Bunbury, was way over in right center. Neither had a chance to get to the dying Quail. 1 run is in already. You have 1 out. You have Moreno at third. That could make it a 4-1 ball game with Parker coming up. That's why Stanhouse leaves and the left-hander Tippy Martinez gets the call.
There's no quitting, Weaver. If he's going to go down, he wants to go down with dignity. He doesn't want his team suddenly to be routed.
All right, Martinez coming in on the pitching change. Let's go right now to the city of Pittsburgh, where there's a great deal of excitement building. Dave Dials is in Pittsburgh. Let's join him.
We're in a bar, Market Square, downtown Pittsburgh, in what they call the Golden Triangle. And the celebration just didn't start a moment ago. This is a town of muscle, a town of strength. And these people never were desperate. They believed all along that their Pirates would win, just as they believe in the tough, rough Pittsburgh Steelers. So they said all along, don't worry, somebody will do it. We'll win the game. Probably Stargell will do it. Sure enough, Willie Stargell has done it so far. The Pittsburgh Pirates just a little bit away from winning another World Championship. Now, I asked the proprietor of this place not long ago, what's the capacity of this joint anyway? He said, we're letting everyone but the fire marshal of the city of Pittsburgh in here tonight. I was one place louder than this one time. I got in the wrong line and somehow got in a rock concert. Let's go back now to Memorial Stadium in Baltimore.
Here's Parker, hitless tonight, but with 10 hits in the World Series.
Right fielder.
This is the third appearance in the series for Tippy Martinez. He has no record. The gap in the outfield for Dave Parker, left center. There you see the hole. Big swing. Well, he was looking and thinking long ball, and Martinez had perfect location inside corner. Dennis Martinez is now up throwing in the Baltimore bullpen. McGregor went 8 innings, pitched well, but he's going to go out a loser unless something happens for Baltimore big in the bottom of the ninth. Tippy is outside, nipping the corner with a sweeping curve, and Parker is shaking his head, and here's another look at it. Big bender. Well, I can see why Dave was shaking his head.
Not going to help.
Nope. 2 strikes on the big man. Moreno at third with 1 out. Foley at first. Hits him. Tippy Martinez trying to come inside to Dave Parker, and he sticks it in his ribs, and the bases are loaded.
Things seemingly closing in on the Birds. Everything going wrong.
Earl Weaver coming back out of the dugout one more time. And Bill Robinson coming to the plate, and Weaver wants another pitcher. That will be 5 pitchers in 1 inning, and that will be a World Series record. The previous record shared by several clubs at 4.
Chuck, you can see, is beginning to feel a little relaxed. A smile creases the corners of the mouth. And here comes Dennis Martinez with an excellent curveball. As you see him coming in on the little court. And Weaver giving it everything he's got, trying to keep this now a 2-run ball game.
Now Bill Robinson steps to the plate against Dennis Martinez. A fly ball will score Moreno from third. If it carries to the outfield, a base hit might chase 2 home. Foley is at second. Parker is at first. Robinson, 1 hit in 4 trips to the plate tonight. All of this in the top of the 9th inning. 5 Baltimore pitchers. New series record. Jim Palmer, Steve Stone, and Sammy Stewart are the 3 remaining pitchers, and Stewart is in the bullpen.
There are the 10+ hits on 1 club. Most players, these Pirates: Garner, Scott, Moreno, Parker, Foley.
The pitch to Robinson, and he goes down, and he is hit by the pitch, hits him on the left hand, and Moreno comes in from third to score the 4th run, and Bill Robinson is sitting on home plate holding his left hand. Chuck Tanner, the trainer, out to have a look at the hand. The pitch was high and tight to Bill Robinson, and it is a 4-1 ball game. So Earl Weaver shuffling through his pitching staff. Dave Parker is hit by Tippy Martinez. Now Dennis Martinez has hit Bill Robinson on the left hand.
Dempsey feels he's getting a rough break on the call. He's arguing that the ball really hit the bat. Weaver in the dugout. And suddenly the bottom is dropping out for these Birds. Such a gallant team. They've won 102 games in the regular season with what seemed to be and was the best pitching in baseball. You're looking at it again. Dempsey claiming the ball hit the bottom of the bat before the hand. The umpire deciding different.
Spray the hand to take away some of the pain.
You know what they sprayed it with? Ethyl chloride.
Yes. Never could pronounce that. I just call it don't hurt me.
An immediate painkiller.
The batter now is Willie Stargell. Garner and Stargell each have 12 base hits. The most hits in a series, 13, by Bobby Richardson of the Yankees in 64 and Lou Brock in 68. Stargell swings and misses for strike one. 4-1 as Moreno has scored from third when Robinson was hit by the pitch. Foley is now over at third. It is 4-1 Pittsburgh. Hold your breath. Sharp shot, foul down the right field line. And Dennis Martinez has the edge on Willie at 2 strikes. Again, a reminder, we will have Don Drysdale and Bob Uecker in the respective clubhouses. Dave Dials is in Pittsburgh. They're building up to a social explosion, I suspect.
And Uecker will not be in the Pirates uniform.
No, he will not. The 2-strike pitch coming with the bases full in the top of the 9th inning, and 2 big runs across the plate for the Pirates. Foul. Got all of it.
Oh, he just ripped it. I mean, he crushed it. Well, they're building a Willie Stargell Foundation in Pittsburgh. And after this series, and after tonight in particular, he may start thinking about renaming a street.
Willie winds it up. And the 2-strike pitch is coming. Over the pitcher's head. Belanger flags it, throws to first, double play. And finally, the inning is over. Baltimore's last chance coming up. Pittsburgh leads 4-1. Back to the bottom of the 9th. More baseball after this word from our local station.
He went through 5 different relievers in the 9th inning. So it was a very lengthy time between the time that I finished the 8th and I went out to the mound to start the 9th.
I think everybody in Memorial Stadium going to the bottom of the 9th after the Pirate insurance runs in the top knew it was over. A lot of people started to leave, believe it or not. I was scrambling down from the auxiliary press box to get down to the Pirate locker room, Pirate clubhouse, to get ready to do my job. And the way that worked, you had to spend a portion of the time walking through the stands, and it was deathly quiet in there. People knew, they understood that it was over.
Pittsburghers know a thing or two about coming together. We cheer together. Look out for one another. We make this city whole. But right now,
Coronavirus is trying to change all that. So Allegheny Health Network is asking every Pittsburgher to join the Stay Home team. Stay inside so our doctors, nurses, first responders can focus on conquering this virus. Let's come together in a new way. Let's all join the Stay Home team today.
I chose Triangle Tech because it came highly recommended from people that were already in the business.
Right now I have about 20% of my crew are Triangle Tech graduates.
This day and age you need some type of degree. The reason for going to Triangle Tech was to make increase in pay and have that degree in education to further myself in life.
If you're stuck in a dead-end job, I would look into Triangle Tech.
Triangle Tech graduates are hired to do important jobs. No one trains you like Triangle Tech.
We know that we're asking Americans to do a lot right now. So we're asking everyone to be selfless for others so that we can protect those who are most susceptible to this virus.
A question I often get asked is why should young people care about the spread of coronavirus? Well, we know that people with underlying medical conditions over the age of 60 are at highest risk, but they've got to get it from somebody.
Social distancing is really physical separation of people.
It's what we refer to when we ask people to stay at least 6 feet apart.
Not going to bars, not going to restaurants, not going to theaters where there are a lot of people. It all just means physical separation so that you have a space between you and others who might actually be infected or infect you.
We all have a role to play in preventing person-to-person spread of this disease, which can be deadly for vulnerable groups. For more information on how you can social distance, please go to coronavirus.gov.
By the time I got to the mound in the top of the ninth and I threw my warm-up pitches, what I knew was there wasn't much left in the tank. That was for sure. There wasn't much in there at all. I was going to have to get them out pretty quick or I was going to run out of gas completely. But I also knew that we had scored a couple more runs. It's now 4-1 instead of 2-1. That is very relaxing for a guy that's pitching in the most important game of his entire career.
That's the line score in the ball game. Kent Jacoby is out on the mound. Jacoby came on in the 8th inning. Bibby started. Robinson succeeded him for 2/3 of an inning. Don. Then Grant Jackson came in and pitched very well. 2 2/3. Now it's Jacoby out there trying to put the birds away. He has a 3-run cushion. These two teams played in 1971, and Pittsburgh won here in 7 games, 2-1. Gary Renicky will be the batter, then DeCinces, and then Dempsey.
Picking out unexpected heroes. How about Grant Jackson? What a job he did tonight.
Renicky up against Jacoby. DeCinces waiting, then Dempsey. Last chance for Baltimore. Too high. Ball 1. Strike.
That is a Jacoby pitch. Throw out the scouting reports. I just throw it low with the buggy whip on.
Time tennis ball thrown out of the stands. We had 1 frisbee and 1 tennis ball. The only untoward moments during this series on this field. Crowd has been enthusiastic. Great fervor. Well behaved. Swing and a miss. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Cut it up a little. Still Renicky swung over.
53,733 the attendance. Grant Jackson, if it stays this way, will be the winner. Scott McGregor will be the loser. Struck him out. So Renicky swings and misses on a breaking pitch outside, off the plate. Here's another look at it. See the ball start its run right there, and it's just off the outside part of the plate for the strikeout. Now it's Doug DeCinces. 2 singles and 3 trips. Pat Kelly will come out and hit for Dipsy.
Birds had their big shot. Last inning, bases filled, 2 out. Eddie Murray up.
On the corner, strike call.
Sharp pitch by Jacoby. Murray did not hit the ball well. It was clearly playable, but Parker almost tripped under it, producing more suspense. But Dave got the ball.
Strike 2.
He really mows him, doesn't he?
He is spectacular. He's the one guy that if you met him on the street in civilian clothes, he'd be the last person you'd think was a major league pitcher. Boy, is he tough and durable. He struck him out on a bad pitch.
Terrible pitch. He had him buffaloed.
Watch this curveball go way off the plate. DeCinces, swinging weakly at it, strikes out. So Jacoby has struck out Renicky, struck out DeCinces. Now he pitches to Pat Kelly, who's 1 for 2. Jacoby needs 1 out for Pittsburgh's 5th World Series championship. Jerry Neudecker back of the plate, calling the balls and strikes.
Go back to Earl Weaver before the game, admitting that maybe Pittsburgh had the pitching edge.
Kelly hits it in the air to center field. Moreno going toward right center, makes the catch. Pittsburgh wins it.
And so this team, with its remarkable comeback capacity throughout the entire regular season, proved itself all over again, beating the Reds in the National League Championship Playoff Series, and then coming from a 3-1 deficit, and there is Willie Stargell.
MVP.
That's right, just named the most valuable player. It's as it should be. He's the spirit, the soul of the club. He's become one of the most important figures in the entire Steel City community, and there is the other, the man, the Reed, who looks like a Stanford College philosophy professor, university I should have said, and the fans from Pittsburgh are out there jumping, and indeed, the Bucks have gone all the way.
Yeah, we just won the World Series, and I'm not a happy camper. Why? Because my hat is gone.
Somebody takes Jacoby's hat. Of course, he had the hat with all the stars on it, and he stole 5 of those from me, so that's probably appropriate. Somebody stole the hat.
Turns out, about 5 minutes later, when we get back in the clubhouse, one of the security guards at Memorial Stadium had seen it happen, caught the kid, got the hat, brought it back in to the clubhouse, and gave it back to me.
When you play with a bunch of ball players like I did, and you have a great bunch of guys, not just ball players, but great individuals, and you end up with one of these, all together doing a great job and having fun. Name of the game.
The combination of the Pirates winning in '79 and the Steelers winning another Super Bowl in the season of '79 gave a boost to this town that I don't know anything else that could have done better.
This is something that becomes part of your life. Here I am, 63 years old, and I still run into people all the time that talk about the '79 World Series.
Everybody contributed, from the 25th guy to the #1 guy. That's what I remember most, is how we fought together and put ourselves together with tape and wire to get through the season and to finally be rewarded with the World Championship.
The big moments, the big games, the big confrontations with hitters, those are the moments that you relish. That's why you play the game.
Swinging a deep fly ball to right, and Josh Bell has hit another one out of here.
And welcome to PNC Park.
Tractor trailers are some of the most dangerous vehicles on the road. There are federal rules for load sizes, driver's hours, and maintenance for a reason. When big rigs don't follow these rules, entire families can be torn apart. We have the talent and the resources to take on these large companies. Hopefully, through our work, families are being helped and trucking companies are getting the message about safety. Bordas and Bordas, fighting for justice.
In the late 1970s, the Pirates' once fearsome ship had foundered. No longer were they the team that struck fear into the hearts of National League East opponents. That honor belonged to their arch rivals, the Phillies.
We hated them like a passion.
But two new Pirates joined a still proud and talented team, and different personalities were forged into a family unit.
It's just an instant bond, you know, that we have there.
Led by a homegrown skipper and a man called Pops, the Pirates showed an indomitable will, regaining their stature as the National League's top team, and then making history in the World Series to once again find family fortune.
In the mid to late 70s, familiarity and excellence bred the contempt for baseball's best rivalry, the Pirates and the Phillies.
Same division, same state, and the thing about rivalries is what you need most for a good rivalry is two teams that are really good, and that's what we had.
We didn't like each other, but we respected each other. And, you know, they had a great ball club.
It was 1-2, and we didn't like each other. It was just that plain and simple. We had some fights along the way as well.
We hated each other. Hate, respect. It's like the scales of justice, man. We hated them like a passion, but we respected each other.
When I got to the big leagues in 1978, the first thing they told me was, you hate the Phillies. That's okay. I guess I hate the Phillies.
Between 1970 and 1975, the Pirates won 5 of 6 National League East Division titles. The Phillies won in 1976 and 77, and after beating the Pirates 10-1 on August 12th of 1978, had an 11.5 game lead on the Bucks.
We lost a Saturday afternoon game to the Philadelphia Phillies, and it was on national television. And we lost big time. And Chuck Tanner tells the media, this may not be the end for us, it might just be the beginning for us.
Tanner's words proved prophetic. The Pirates went a blistering 34-11 over their next 45 games.
We had a nice lead going in there, and they came out guns a-blazing like we knew they would.
All of a sudden,